Good afternoon and welcome to Day 3 of the Asia Pacific Opens Touch Cup, a special day on the calendar, Anzac Day here in Mudgee. Beautiful conditions yet again here in Mudgee this afternoon. We're just a few moments away from getting our opening ceremony, or our Anzac Day ceremony, I should say, underway. Jackson Mills joins me. It's been a special moment, a special morning already, and it's just going to get even better here this afternoon.
Yeah, it was a really great start to the day. We got to march, the whole Australian and New Zealand contingent got to march through the centre town of Mudgee. It was quite spectacular. You know, people just lining the streets, applauding as everyone walked down. We got to see the servicemen and women from all divisions of the Defence Force from both Australia and New Zealand get to participate as well. But it's a special day, especially to play footy against, or to witness footy against Australia and New Zealand. I was lucky enough to represent Australia last year on Anzac Day. Unfortunately, Australia lost that game, but irrespective, it's so special. I mean, look at that. How cool is that? The crowd starting to fill in, seats beginning to fill up here in Mudgee. Yeah, it's going to be a very special day and a special game for the Australian players and, of course, the New Zealand players as well.
Yeah, absolutely great scenes out here this afternoon. You can see some of our servicemen out there. And like you said, we were able to be part of the march. It was awesome to be part of this morning, and some ex-servicemen there this morning leading the march. We'll head down onto the field now for our official Anzac ceremony.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Flight Lieutenant Ethan Phipps. I'm joined by Lance Corporal Drew Price, Chief Petty Officer Byron Evans, and Warrant Officer Class 2 Ben Alderson. Before we begin, we acknowledge the traditional owners of the country where we meet on Anzac Day to remind everyone that we gather on First Nations land.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like us to take a moment to reflect on what Anzac Day truly stands for. It began with the Gallipoli campaign during World War I, but it's about far more than just one battle. It's about every man and woman who has worn the uniform and the sacrifices they've made, not just in the past, but every single year since. Over 130 Australian and New Zealand soldiers, sailors, aviators have lost their lives in service. But beyond the numbers, it's the unseen sacrifices that stay with you. It's the birthdays missed, the kids growing up while a parent is deployed, the families left waiting at home, wondering when their son or daughter is going to be back. And for some, the ones who never made it back. Last year, I got a small glimpse into that reality. The day before I was meant to leave to represent Queensland at State of Origin, I was deployed to the Middle East on short notice. In an instant, everything changed. And that's the reality for so many who serve. At the drop of a hat, they put their lives on hold, leaving behind family, friends, and everything familiar to step into the unknown. Not for recognition, not for reward, but because that's what the role demands. That willingness, that sacrifice, that mateship, that's what we call the Anzac spirit. It's about looking after the person next to you. It's about courage when things get tough, and it's about putting the team before yourself. And while today is a game, the same values carry on to the footy field. When you back up your teammate, when you dig in when you're tired, when you compete hard but show respect, that's the Anzac spirit in its own way. So today as we play, let's honour that spirit, because the opportunity to be here to compete, to enjoy moments like this, is something many pay the ultimate sacrifice for, lest we forget.
For those able, please stand while I recite the ode. They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them, lest we forget.
Please remain standing for the New Zealand and Australia national anthems. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. That concludes our service for today. The first games will tap off at 1 p.m. in approximately 12 minutes' time.
Well, we are back here and we're with Sports Broadcasting Royalty. Local here in Mudgee as well, Ken Sutcliffe. Ken, thanks for joining us. Before we get underway with our Trans-Tasman matches, as a local here, you must be pretty thrilled to see a big touch football event make its way to Mudgee.
I'm more thrilled the fact that you call me royalty. Look, as a boy and even as a young man, I could never envisage that we would have this facility and this sort of sport going on in this town of 12,000 people, a facility that's equal to anything in Australia right now, and particularly in the regions. So this is a major plus for us. I can't tell you how much we are enjoying, not just me, but the locals are embracing this, and they realise this is good for our kids, it's good for our community, and it's just good generally for the regions.
And we saw this morning, we had a great Anzac Day march through the centre of Mudgee, and the streets were packed with young kids, mums, dads, entire families.
And a lot of touch footballers. You had the Kiwis there, and I think you had the Aussies there, and a couple of other nations were represented, and that did not go unnoticed. A lot of people said, what a lovely thing for them to do, to take their time out and be a part of the community, which you have been for 4 days. And you've embraced it, and I think it's a terrific thing on all levels. It gets kids off the phones, gets them off social media. It's just such a plus to the sport.
And it is a touch football event. You mentioned off air that you were one of the best touch players you said you've ever seen play. Tell us a bit about your history around touch football. You mentioned in North Queensland you were carving up the fields up there.
It's funny how you can go off people pretty quickly, isn't it? Hey? If you're going to take it out of me, you better be ready. No, I did enjoy my touch football. It was back in the 70s in Townsville, actually. And it was a very strong touch football community, a very strong sporting city. We had people like Gene Miles, international, Kerry Bosted. We had Gordon Tallis's dad. We had a lot of really good first-grade internationals at that time, but certainly went on to bigger and better things. And it was very much a very strong competition. I enjoyed it and played it for a number of years. And once I got to Sydney, I stopped for a number of reasons. I was working every weekend and all that sort of stuff. But I can honestly say I enjoyed it, and I was very competitive. But touch football in my day was sort of physical. It's a lot cleaner, and let me tell you, it's a lot faster. And it's a better sport now that you're mixing it up. You've got women playing with men, men playing with women, and vice versa. Kids, bringing them through, teaching them the rules, teaching them fitness, how to look after their bodies. So it's really evolved. It's really evolved.
You covered a lot of major sporting events all across the world. Australia versus New Zealand, though, there's something special about that. And then you add the element of playing on Anzac Day. It's going to be a really big afternoon out here.
It is, and I did a World Cup in New Zealand, a Rugby World Cup, and I mean, we're sports mad, but let me tell you, the Kiwis are equally. And the beautiful thing, they've got a chip on their shoulder, on both shoulders, which makes them very dangerous. But they're a great athletic country, and when you see the black, you know you're in for a game. And you see this in your touch football. But what about when I was wandering around the ground the other day, and I'm watching, there's Sri Lanka, there's Lebanon, there's Chinese Taipei, there's China, there's Singapore. And I'm going, when did this all happen? How did this happen? So whoever's in charge of what you blokes are doing, whatever you're paying them, they're worth every cent, because you're kicking goals. You're kicking goals. And here today, you've got a stadium full, which takes 1,000 people. That stadium is full. When I was playing touch football, there was mum, dad and a couple of kids. We never played to a stadium like this.
Yeah, amazing, and we're looking forward to seeing the contest this afternoon. Thank you so much for your company, and enjoy the footy here this afternoon.
Thanks very much, fellas, and you're always welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ken.
Great Ken Sutcliffe joining us this afternoon. We're into mixed open action now. Our opening Trans-Tasman match for this afternoon. The Aussies are into it. First touch of the footy here, Millsy.
And I'll tell you what, there's already been an error from New Zealand off the tap-off. Big strong touch from Bradley Russell and Jacob Hall. New Zealand already coming up with an error, and it seems at the moment we're seeing one of the New Zealand players go down. Hopefully it's just a little sprain. He'll run that off.
So New Zealand first touch of the footy. Exciting start here. We'll go through the tail of the tape very shortly between these two nations as New Zealand roll over the halfway line nicely. Coming into the back end of this set now. Nice little short ball played in behind the Australians. James Price made the contact. There's a big touch in the end. They'll work their way to the box now.
It'll be a nervous start for New Zealand after that crucial error off the touch, but New Zealand, good line speed, strong in defence. Australia coming unstuck on that occasion. An error apiece, trying to get the nerves out early here, Scott.
So first, good opportunity here for the Kiwis. And take the opportunity to make a couple of changes as well.
You can tell this is going to be physical throughout the entire game. Bart's putting a shot on Nathan Rowlandson.
Rowlandson turns it back in. Webber, space out here for New Zealand. Just held up. Australia scramble to get across. Quick play the ball coming into the last. As New Zealand look to go back down the short side. Ball out in front, goes over the sideline.
Great cover defence. Tynese Bowery on the left-hand touchline for Australia. Webber threw an absolute peach of a pass left to right. We know how dangerous he is coming from that left to right platform, but Bowery up to the task on that occasion as Australia look for some fresh subs.
Stewie doing the hard meters down the sideline. And here's that physicality again. Now Wilson Groth, good meters, kicks inside. Groth trying to get in behind, and big touch made on the boots. Webber. So referee Campbell Muir's going to blow a penalty here.
Yeah, the crowd lifting with Australia on that occasion. Groth, he copped a hit yesterday in the Samoan match. He actually copped one blindsided, went down heavy, struggling to breathe. So you can just see him gingerly reeling out of that touch.
Now Russell, a little bit of space out here on the right. Will diffuse from New Zealand. And Cox will get himself in a half, feeds it to Brad Russell. Nice little short ball, good defence again. Harry Carter makes the touch this time, defending in the left wing. Still some touches to work with here for the Emus. Cox comes back into Russell, sends it back out to Bailey Deacon, one of these new players into the Aussie lineup for the Asia Pacific Touch Cup this weekend. Few changes in both lineups from what we saw in last year's Trans-Tasman Series. Jacob Hall making his way onto the field. He's got ball in hand now. Repeats that again here for Australia. Hall, nice ball out in front. Oh, and there's a bit of Australia versus New Zealand. Trans-Tasman for you right there.
Yep, that's tackle one.
Now Hall. Russell splits through, throws the dummy, and will get in between them. He throws a couple of words on his way back to the sideline. Brad Russell scores first here for the Aussies.
Lovely play by Australia. Hall splitting left. Russell coming through the middle. Yeah, exchanging words as he does. Bradley Russell loves the competitive nature of this level. Australia, New Zealand had a breakout Trans-Tasman last year in Christchurch. A real dominant attacking player, Bradley Russell. So keep your eyes out. If he has some spare space, he'll be throwing a left foot, right foot, cracking off both feet.
New Zealand from the restart. Last touch, Kurukanga tries to get in behind them. He'll be one of the players the Kiwis will be leaning on here this afternoon. He's got experience. He's part of the Trans-Tasman Series in the Mixed Open last time around on home soil.
Yeah, that defensive set for Australia is going to do them a load of confidence, scoring a try and then backing it up with a defensive set. As Wilton Gross now drives in for Zane Cox.
Once again with another touch here from half. Comes into Cox, who slings it out. Tough ball to take. Holly Raff out here in the right link. Just a second here to take a quick breather.
Yeah, it's been an absolute chaotic start from both teams. Very physical. We said it yesterday and this morning. We spoke to a few New Zealand players before the march this morning in Mudgee's Town Centre, and they are absolutely up for it. As New Zealand get a good drive through now into Australia's defensive zone.
Nice clean pick up here from half. Australia defence. Very strong. Now, if you're tuning in for the first time, different format than what we've seen in the Trans-Tasman Series in the past. Now we're incorporated into the Asia Pacific Touch Cup. This game is super important, isn't it, Millsy? It's almost like a grand final coming early here You really want to win this game here today to be a chance of also taking the Trans-Tasman Series.
Yeah, if you win today, it just takes the nerves off and that pressure. And I don't want to be being game one down, going into the grand final tomorrow, knowing that it's a must-win.
Now, Jacob Hall did a good job to thread that in behind. As Price cleaned it up, they go short again. New Zealand defend well. We saw New Zealand in the Trans-Tasman Series last year. You were part of it in the Mixed Open. They took game 1. Lost game 2 and 3, though. Couldn't get the Trans-Tasman Trophy back on home soil. So they know they've got it in them to knock off this Australian team.
And they're a very confident side, too. If New Zealand get 1 or 2 up on you, they lift to another level. They're built around a lot of confidence. They have a strong cultural group. They work well as a team. As we saw Joe Webber yesterday on Field 1 during the live stream, all he was doing was coming out of that left platform and banging left to right, left to right, left to right. And we saw it early in the first set from New Zealand. He went back to that platform, so it's clearly a tactic. New Zealand want to work for Joe Webber coming out of that left link position.
Australia going to get a good look. Here is Kieran Hughes down. Bailey Deacon feeds it to him. Nice ball out to Hammond. Scramble defence. They'll come back to blow the penalty.
And that's a great read by Mariana Winiana on the left touchline for New Zealand. Cracking left to right from Kieran Hughes. First time playing against New Zealand, and check that out. That's a 35-metre absolute rocket to Katie Hammond, but Winiana up to the task. Great read in the end and good defensive set from New Zealand.
3 referees for this Mixed Open Trans-Tasman match: Tom Webster, Zach Jenrick and Campbell Muir. As Kurukunga pumps and tries to get it in behind. We are going back and forth at the moment. This is true Trans-Tasman touch football right now.
I tell you what, 8 minutes has gone by and Australia definitely have the momentum. New Zealand are unable to get an attacking platform set for their ball players. Australia have limited them to about 30 to 20 metres out from their own try line and now back on the attack.
Another comfortable touch though, New Zealand defending their line well. Australia are sending plenty of questions. Deacon sends it back in field. And nicely closed out again. New Zealand get things back going through Masilla. Kurukunga. Changes will be frequent out here for both teams. Coming on at speed into the last. They play out the back, just having to dive for it. It was James Taylor. And a few questions being asked here from the Australians.
How about the speed of New Zealand coming in? Vengeance. Takoa Ropati driving into the Australian defensive line. Unfortunately, couldn't come up with it. Yeah, looking for that little passive play out the back, New Zealand. And just a little leg pull there on the replay. But Australia with some good momentum now through Jacob Hall.
Russell, a few questions being asked there. You could probably hear that clearly.
Ooh, yeah.
Jacob Hall did not think there was any contact made. Referee Jenrick tells him to play the ball, but they'll get the penalty instead. Next best result there for the Australians. Repeat set. Looking to extend the margin here by 2. As Russell works with Hall. Price feeds it from half.
Ooh,
James Price,
that's
tough
close.
carry coming through. Like the look of it there, Price.
And all 3 players, Price, Russell and Jacob Hall, in the centre of the pitch, have all played some footy together. They came off a strong NTLs, National Touch League Championships for the South Queensland Sharks, so they do know each other's ball movements.
Now a bit of space here for Hall, who gets away from the diving efforts of the New Zealand defence. Australia go back to back and they're up by 2.
Yeah, a bit of a disappointing defensive effort there from New Zealand. Like, there's absolutely nothing doing here, and Bradley Russell just throws a nothing right to left pass out to Jacob Hall and just burns Ropati on the outside. What I've actually noticed at that point in time is New Zealand are running what's called an eye defence. Now, Australia love to attack against an eye defence. So we mentioned Rohit Prasad, the Mixed Opens coach for New Zealand, making his debut at Amaji local. So he's bringing in some new defensive processes for New Zealand. An absolute critical error just thrown to Deck Scott.
wouldn't be too happy with that. It's a good point you raised. We took a look at the replay here.
Look at this. He's not even watching.
Oh dear. They won't want to be looking back on that one in the review tonight. Oof, Rollinson again. Are we pushing the boundary a smidge? As Cox gets it down, no half in place here for Australia. Deacon zings it across. Hits the carpet. Yeah, it's a good talking point, isn't it, with Prasad coming in, an absolute legend in the mixed game. And I was talking to him a couple of days ago. He lives like 2 streets away from here. He said you can almost see our house. An amazing story that he's leading New Zealand in his hometown here in this Trans-Tasman match this afternoon.
Yeah, I'm interested to see if they actually change the defensive pattern New Zealand. You can see they did run that massive eye defence. As Australia giving away a penalty with some good field position here for New Zealand. But Australia trained for that eye defence. And they know exactly what to do when it's presented from New Zealand. But now, Pokayawa Kurakanga for New Zealand. Good field position now for them.
Yeah, they'd love to get some points on the board. Here the Kiwis. Good Marcilla from half. They're up nice and early. Good defensive read coming from outside in there from Holly Ruff. Might have been a step or two too early. Zach Jenrick pointing to Hully. 6 more touches. Repeat set. Broadhurst gets it down. Little clunky in the play the ball. Wilson Gross flying through to make the touch. Kurakanga tries to punch through the line. Might have him here. Had a nice look at it. Campbell Muir's going to point to the spot. And the Kiwis. Pokayawa is having a bit of chat in return as well. Plenty of feeling, plenty of heat. New Zealand score their first.
Yeah, good play. Wilson Groth coming up to protect the girl in the link. Raf just getting squeezed in just a little too much, and Pokayawa Kurakanga taking full advantage of that. And yeah, love the banter thrown back by Pokayawa. It's Australia now back on the attack through Price and Hall.
The ball on the out to Brad Russell, who dives through the air. They have hit straight back here, the Australians. Marching back up to 2. Just a nice little out ball, and Russell leaping through to score another try.
Oh, Bradley Russell goes aerial, and what a try that is. You can see they took him short. Ropati had to defend the girl as they swept around using Jacob Hall as a decoy, dummied and hit Brad Russell on the outside of the link and just used his foot speed, didn't he? Brad Russell getting aerial. Add that one to the highlight reel.
Now Harry Carter goes back to Webber. Still just trying to get set here, New Zealand. Rollinson will redirect traffic. Comes around on the sweep, releases. Early ball out to the corner. Nice hands, just tips away. Tough one to take for Winiana. We know what a quality finisher she is in this New Zealand mixed open team. Logan Tui taking some good carries down the sideline to keep this momentum going. But as I say that, a loose pass from the Aussies.
Yeah, they had a good drive on, didn't they? You can see Harry Carter fronting up against the Australian attack, and Kieran Hughes just giving him a little shoulder charge. Don't mind it. Love to see it in the Anzac spirit. As New Zealand head across for some fresh substitutes.
It's a dangerous part of the field where you're getting the football back around that sort of halfway line to get some momentum going back forward again. New Zealand have recovered pretty well to get them down towards the attacking 7-metre line. Good Kunga from half. Pump. Short ball. It was a lovely little short ball off the hip. Good defence, though, from the Australians. Kiwis are starting to get themselves into this game, and they're throwing some questions on the line.
Yeah, well, the first 5 minutes, they didn't even have a chance to attack on the line because Australia's line defence was just squashing them into their own half through touches 1, 2 and 3. But no touch called there from New Zealand. Referee Zachary Jenrick on top of that. So again, you got the likes of Preston Kudakanga's out there in the middle. We already saw him cross once through a quickie short side, beating Wilson Groth on the outside. They've also got Quinn Masilla out there. Played a lot of touch football together, these three. See how strategic this is. Look at the girl come across to the left-hand side as we see Broadhurst go to the right. But it is PK in the centre of the field doing what he does best.
Outside to Schiff. Comes straight back in to Kudukanga. He's definitely the man with a hot hand. Just slapped down and played the safe approach there. Oh, rough involved again.
It's not a bad play from Pokayawa because what he does, he's got to read on what the defence is doing. You could see Katie Hammond just was a bit tight on that left touchline, so he may throw long.
Yeah, clunky in there again. It's going to be a penalty here to New Zealand. You can probably see, though, when Pokayawa is trying to play it there, he's trying to push forward as well into the line. The penalty does go towards the New Zealand on that occasion. Here you go, you see him just running forward as the ball's being played. He's trying to get it on the run.
Bradley Russell, great touch on the inside. It was Masilla taking him short and PK coming back in underneath as he gets the ball back in his hands now.
This time taken. Had a good look at it there, Raph. Had a real good look.
You can see the crowd. Everyone was up on their feet as soon as it touched her hands. Unfortunately, just couldn't reel it in. But New Zealand now, this is their third set on the line in a row. Expect PK to take charge again.
Broadhurst from half. It's a tough run as well. They're hanging on in defence here, the Aussies. Ropati plays it. Sing it back out to Kudukanga. Ropati on the sweep, but they bring it back the other way. Kudukanga out to Winiana. Nice recovery in defence and has gone out. So 3 sets on their line in defence. The Australians hold on.
Yeah, watch this defensive set now by New Zealand. They could be frustrated and may get a little bit physical. Exactly what happened just then. They can't let that frustration get to their emotions because Australia will start to recognise that and play into it as Australia now in good field position. But you're right, Scott, 3 repeat sets on the line from New Zealand and Australia managing to keep them out.
Here's the skipper, Tim Bartz. Logan Tui and Kieran Hughes out on the field now. Hughes one to watch. Making his Australian debut alongside Logan Tui. He's got the ball now. Watch these young superstars go. Ball on the inside to Logan Tui. Just as we give those young stars a wrap, they come up trumps here for the Emus.
Now the Australians know exactly what to do with the defence of New Zealand. Ropati is coming all the way across. He's in the right middle, and he's getting sucked all the way across, leaving so much space on that left side. It was a simple jink out to Kieran Hughes and back on the inside to Logan Tui. So Australia starting to really get on top now. 1.5 minutes to go in this first half.
And you take a quick think back about those 3 sets that they had on the line for New Zealand. That can be deflating in its own, where you've got that much possession, good field position, and you don't come up with the points. Australia get the ball back, go down the other end and score themselves. New Zealand have got a bit of a task in their hands now. Down by 3, clock winding down here in the first half. They need to try and defend their line. Russell down. Hall goes away to Russell. Oh, it was there. Just out in front.
He could have given it before the player, actually, Hawley. When he picked up, he dummied left. Clear open side back on the right to Bradley Russell. He went around the player. He could have just given it to him right then and there. He was walking over.
Yeah, he ended up throwing it in behind the defensive line of New Zealand, as you said. A missed opportunity. Could have been 5-1 going into the break. Just over 30 seconds to go. New Zealand would desperately love some points. It's not going to be in this set. They might not get another opportunity to get a touch of the football here before the break. James Price here makes a good run on the first. Hammond will follow the ball here from half.
Good run, Tim Bartz.
It's a skipper's run there. It's Hughes and Tui head back out. Now Tui picks up. They've crabbed him across field. That's good defence.
It's not a smart play. It's a very smart play, from Logan Tui, just picking up from half, sucking in 15 to 20 seconds to wind that first half down. And what a dominant start it is by Australia. 4 tries to 1. There's the crowd getting behind the Australians, but New Zealand, slow start for them. It was very hard to get the momentum early on because Australia's line defence was just keeping them in their own half. Couldn't really get a strike attack. But if you take a look at the replays here, Russell all over them at the moment, exchanging words with the New Zealand. And this try was absolutely something out of nothing. Russell just throws it to Hall. Ropati caught way too far in field. had some individual brilliance by Pokayawa Kurakanga. And you can tell this is the attacking pod. It's Russell and Hall that are causing so much damage for the New Zealand defensive line. And that was just as easy as you like for Australia. A complete defensive breakdown for New Zealand. But this is danger signs for Australia, to be honest. You don't want to relax. You don't want to take the pressure off. New Zealand are so capable of coming back from 3 tries down. They've done it multiple times before.
Yeah, huge second half on the cards. New Zealand need a big turnaround. Down by 3 at the moment. Halftime score here. The Aussies in control. 4 tries to 1 over New Zealand.
Today, Audi being on DoorDash is pretty big news.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of people talking about it.
Why aren't we talking about it?
Well, we are talking about it.
Talking about what?
Audi being on DoorDash.
Oh, yeah, I heard that's big news.
Welcome back. Second half about to get underway here in our opening Trans-Tasman match for today in the mixed open. That first half just felt like it flew to Millsy, didn't it? It was really fast-paced, but the Aussies well and truly in control after that first 20.
Yeah, well, it was about 1-0 until about 8 minutes. New Zealand just couldn't get down the other end, put any defensive or attacking pressure on the Australian defence. The Australian line speed just too fast, up in their face, limiting the ability for them to go forward. But it's 4-1, Australia leading, but I've seen New Zealand come from so far behind, it's not even funny. So if the Australians let off just 1%, New Zealand need to come back over the top.
Yeah, big second 20 minutes coming up, and like we said, this game is just so important. They need to throw the kitchen sink here in the second half, New Zealand. Because if they drop this game, and if they do make their way through to the final tomorrow in this mixed open division, you know, they need to get 2 clear wins to be any chance of being able to retain or get their hands back on the Trans-Tasman Trophy. Here we go. Second half underway in the mixed open. Jacob Hall had the first touch of the football. Brad Russell, look at him running already. Price just has to put the brakes on. They'll reset. Kapia gets the ball coming back infield, coming into the last. Hall looking for a repeat set and gets it. James Taylor up in the line. Those ones do hurt. It's the last touch of the set. It wasn't a good set from the Aussies to kickstart here in the second half. Now New Zealand have to defend their line for another 6 touches. Hall sets back out to the open side. Nice touch there from Winiana. Bradley Russell again. Links back up with Jacob Hall.
Great defence there by New Zealand. They registered, they scored a try exactly like that in the first half, and ability to come back on that one.
Oh, they had another look. It was a bit closer to being able to reel that one in, Sean Wilkie.
It was the attacking two through Jacob Hall and Bradley Russell in the middle of the pitch at the moment. They were the dominant attacking figures in the first half, so they're going to be coming into the second with a steam of confidence.
Still touches to work with here for the Australians. Price on the sweep. It's his absolute bread and butter. And that was the difference. We saw the Australians get some repeat sets. They come up with the points.
How much space did they create from him? I mean, Pricey's just come out of nowhere. From the far right link, if the call would have been called now, they would have said sweep as fast as you can. Hall gets the ball. Price just cracks back on the inside of Ropati, and there's no middle. So again, another New Zealand defensive breakdown, in Australia, it seems they've figured it out at this point in time in the game.
They need something here, New Zealand, otherwise this game can be taken away from them pretty quickly. Nicely played behind the line. And Preston Broadhurst, gee whiz, they needed that, New Zealand.
Yeah, absolutely, they needed that. It was a well-structured play, wasn't it? Masala, Quinn, Kurakanga, Broadhurst just sitting on the right edge in the link. That's Masila just getting it away before the touch was made, and Broadhurst crossing for New Zealand. Well, 2.5 gone in the second half, and that's a great hit back from New Zealand.
The defence has to be key here for the Kiwis. There's another little deflection. And the ball's actually going to come back in favour of the touchback, so they get a little bit of luck go their way, and you're going to need every ounce of luck if they're any chance of getting themselves back into this game.
And you see what Australia are able to do, not only in the first half, but the second. They're able to score both on the left side of the field and on the right side of the field, causing absolute havoc for the New Zealand defence. But look at New Zealand now. Good momentum and a good fast drive here through James Taylor.
They come back his way, but Cox is up out of the line. And Australia gets straight back to work here with Wilson Groth. Cox gets him over the halfway line. Holly Ruff follows suit. As Rudd sets him back infield. A combination of Russell, Price and Hall. And back on the field here for the Australians. Hall looks to go short. Takes a deflection off Sean Wilkie.
Touch maybe just a little bit too close to the try line for the Australians on that occasion, where New Zealand were able to get back to the line, take 2 big steps up, get in the passing lane, so he actually couldn't get the ball away, but Price will probably look to sweep again. They just scored off it, and here he is at dummy half.
Now Hall and Price will just pull them back out. Now Russell picks up, just lost his feet momentarily, but turns it back on the inside to Jacob Hall, who strolls over for more points here for the Aussies. This is starting to get a little bit concerning, this defensive style here for New Zealand.
Yeah, they need to make some kind of alteration in the defensive line, because what's doing is the right middle is actually coming up, protecting the girl on his outside, making the touch, pulling a massive corner. The dummy half, dummies that side, goes short, and the middle's just split a mile apart. So all that is just a switch back on the inside, and as you saw, a try right in the middle of the New Zealand middles.
Doubles for Bradley Russell, doubles for Jacob Hall.
It's that same pod too. Very dominant attacking pod. It's Price, Hall, and Russell.
And Silla gets it down. Kurakanga plays it out the back. Ooh, just a fraction behind. He did have some space out of there on that left edge.
Look at the speed that Australia gets back on the ball as well. Kieran Hughes not mucking around, and Kapia, the blinkers on, unfortunately missing that one. Giving New Zealand some good field position. Plenty of time, though, for New Zealand. Don't get me wrong. There's 15 minutes left to play here in the second half, but need to make something happen.
Silla with Broadhurst. Happy just to throw the football around at the moment, New Zealand. Kurakanga left foot. Oh. And geez, that was close. Logan Tui getting across. Roth was there as well. Look at options here, New Zealand. They love to get more points on the board. Stewart plays it. Clunking to play the ball. And Roth was just there, held his space. Stuck those big arms out to make the contact and force the mistake.
Again, Australia back on the ball, but it is the attacking pod from New Zealand, and they're going to substitute. It's Pokayawa, Kurakanga, Broadhurst, and Masila. That's where the 2 tries have come from New Zealand, so they need to keep those guys on. Pokayawa has stayed out there, and they've sent in Joe Webber and Nathan Rowlandson. So Pokayawa heading to the substitution box. Let's see what this new pod coming in can do.
So just burned a couple of touches while they made those replacements. Pokayawa end up coming back onto the field. He's going to head off now that they've just gotten the repeat set, so they'll get the fresh legs on there. 6 touches to work with.
Yeah, good contact between Brad Russell and Joe Webber. Russell just able to hold Webber up that 1 second longer than he would have liked.
Here is Webber now inside to Rollinson. As Carter plays it. Now Carter. Oh, lovely little late ball. He drew in 2 Aussies there.
I don't even think Rollinson was expecting that. I think if he was expecting the ball, he would have actually already been in the process of diving, but just popped into his lap.
It's a beautiful ball from Harry Carter, who's got the ball in his hands now. Pumps go short. And Hall, there might have been a play on call there momentarily. Just got time off being called. Chat here as Jacob Hall gets the 4th substitution. I need to get the football here. You've got a small little window where it's 6 on 5, but Tim Barnes has sprinted back out there.
It's a bit of late mail from Tim Barnes. This is his first game, possibly he's played for the tournament, because he actually did a bit of his hamstring about 2 weeks ago before the last preparation camp for this Asia Pacific Touch Cup and this Trans-Tasman Test exactly. So it's amazing that he's been able to recover and back out. You can see that left hamstring heavily strapped. We saw Drew Price go down in a game yesterday, sitting this one, but New Zealand now through Rollinson.
They go bomb. Lose possession there, New Zealand. Missed opportunity. Again, a couple of sets on the line. Doesn't come up with points for them. And the Aussies just get back to work, trying to get themselves downfield. No half there in place. To recover now as the changes roll on. Bailey Deacon, Zane Cox. Another deflection. Geez, they're getting their hands on the footy.
Yeah, if we can get a replay of that touch, look how far Zane Cox can run into the line. New Zealand are just rolling back. I mean, he picks up, look how far he's running. Digging all the way into the New Zealand defensive line and picking any option that he wants. New Zealand just need to hold the line, make him force that pass a little bit earlier.
Wilson, they go away from him. Deacon snatched at it, lost possession. Bailey Deacon, the young man, out of Toowoomba, making his debut in the green and gold this week. Taylor,
how about that?
Fired that one out of a cannon, and it was beautifully taken as well from Sammy Stanton.
Just got on the outside of the Aussies. Now this is a good roll on for New Zealand. They just need to bury the touch. Unfortunately, just coming unstuck there. But Broadhurst now for Pokayawa Kurakanga.
Looks at options, goes long, nice hands. They send it back. It's good recovery as well. Awida, though, contact is made on her. Australia get the football back. Oh, wow. What about that defense? Bounced away. Tiana Tiro didn't phase her at all.
I think Roth has come off second best in that one. We said he had a couple of head knocks and a couple of rib knocks yesterday, and she comes out again.
Yes. But that's the sort of stuff that might be able to spark New Zealand. You got one of your players out here, Tiana Tiro, trying to lift them in defence. She's taken on the biggest bloke out on the field.
Exactly, but New Zealand, again, that's their first touch inside their own 7-metre line, and just simple errors giving Australia and gifting Australia great field position now through Barnes. They've got an overlap.
Barnes ends up putting the brakes on. They've got a full set to work with. That's the experience you'll get from Tim Barnes. He'll control this set here for the Australians. Gets himself in a half, feeds it to Tui. Dangerous! Comes off his left foot. Logan Tui gets a double in this one as well. Australia are running away with this.
Well, how good's that from the 18-year-old Logan Tui? Just gets it on the outside of the link. Check out this left foot. Great service from Bartz. Cracks back on the left foot in the same motion. Logan Tui. It's got to be those bright green boots, Scott. My goodness. How about how much force went through that left leg? Cracked back on the inside. And that extends the deficit to 5.
There was smoke coming off those bright green boots after that left foot. What a performance on your debut against New Zealand, and they've turned it over. Australia just relentless. As soon as they get ball back in hand, they just get straight back to work. Tall gets the Emus over the halfway line. Deacon coming onto the ball at speed. Cox into half. Just found it a little bit too hard. He was coming in hot as well there, Zane Cox, and just tried to flick it off because he wasn't able to hold his feet.
Well, it wasn't a forward pass, so if Deacon catches it, it's play on, they score in the corner. I wasn't expecting it from here. I don't think anyone was expecting it, let alone Hayley Deacon, but just shows the skill of some of the players out there. Cox at 100 mile an hour, bending over while flicking it. Yeah, great read. Defensive read again from Australia. Brittany Rudd rushing in off the left touch line, putting enormous pressure on the New Zealand attack. But showing New Zealand just haven't had that many opportunities up on the Australian defensive line to really get set in their ways. And when you've got the momentum of Australia going forward like this, it's super difficult to get up the other end, isn't it?
Yeah, Kieran Hughes. It's back to Logan Tui. Tim Bartz is toying with this New Zealand defence at the moment.
See, look at the defence from New Zealand. They're all over the shop. They're running extremely high eye defence. And Australia are just being able to pick it apart, because if you watch what happens, Joe Webber has to come up, and so do the left-hand side link for New Zealand. See the two, they're coming out now. And Australia know exactly what to do and how to dismantle this defence.
Toying with them at the moment. Does it come up with more points here for the Australians? Back on the inside to Tui. He's got a hat-trick. This is some sort of performance.
They just know how to dismantle it, don't they? Australia, through the likes of Kieran Hughes and Logan Tui, picks up a hat-trick just on the inside of the New Zealand defence through Harry Carter. And some words exchanged too. He's up and about, isn't he, Logan Tui?
8 tries to 2. I don't think many people saw this one coming. And mixed has always been one of those divisions where you're like, right, we think New Zealand are definitely going to be a chance. And they're more of a chance of getting some points here in this set. That's nicely finished off. It's been a time in between drinks for the Kiwis, though. They finally get their third on the board. And 6 minutes left on the clock, though. It might be too little too late.
It was a nice little dummy on the left side from Masilla to Broadhurst. Then out to Sammy Stanson. But you'd think with 6 minutes to play, New Zealand would have to score every time that they touch the ball. And we're seeing the line speed of Australia really limiting the go forward for New Zealand. And Australia, well, they've got some experienced campaigners through the likes of Groth with the ball. Zane Cox has been there before, Tim Bartz, and they may play the clock.
Nice early ball out in front. Good recovery in defence. And Kiara Fisher had some work to do to get across to make that touch. Did it beautifully. Still got some touches to work with here. The Aussies coming into the last now. Cox bombs long. And a nice recovery there as well. This time Stanton comes across and closes it out as the Kiwis get the football back. And New Zealand shift it through Wilkie. He'll take one forward here, Sean Wilkie. As the changes make their way onto the field for the Kiwis. Carter rips it out long. Goes over the sideline.
See again, New Zealand still 30 metres out when they're throwing that pass. But Australia back on the attack now. Under 5 minutes to go in this Trans-Tasman Test match here on Anzac Day in Mudgee. It's been all things go for the Australians in this one. Fortunately, New Zealand unable to match it with them.
Oh, Kieran Hughes now. Now we're on the run again. And Hughes just saw space open up through the middle and he slams it down.
And that's exactly how he plays too, Kieran Hughes. Just eyes up footy. He sees the space in front, cracks off his right, pumps the dummy.
And just lost footing there, didn't he? On a party on the line. 9 tries in this Trans-Tasman test for the Australians. Up by 6. What a performance it's been.
Great read from James Price. Coming off the line, shutting down the danger man, Pokayawa Kutakanga.
The positive for New Zealand that you can take out of this is that they potentially get one more crack at Australia. And we see that in Trans-Tasman Test Series, the traditional ones. And as Russell makes the chat, this is not the game that we'll see tomorrow if these two teams come up against each other again in the final.
Absolutely not. They will go back and do their homework and see where things have come undone, particularly for the New Zealand defence. But they will be a different outfit tomorrow, New Zealand.
Not much doing in the early stages here of this set. They're trying to manipulate this defence. Marcilla goes over the top. There's space, and they just ran out of room in the end. Tough one to take there for Tiro. So into the back end of this game now. Women's Open coming up next. The Aussies definitely had the wood over the Kiwis through Trans-Tasman history. Can the Kiwis turn it around in the Women's Open? Deakin has to come back to the mark. Now Groth skips, goes to Deakin. It's got a little room to work with. Tries to link back up with Wilson Groth and get it behind the defensive line of New Zealand. Forces them to play at the ball.
You can see Masilla just grabbing at his right hamstring there as well. Hopefully it's just a cramp.
If you've seen a few hamstrings over the last couple of days, they might have identified that. He might be someone they look to try and get at here in this set.
Yeah, see, this is exactly what they're setting up. You watch Bailey Deakin and Zane Cox. The two defensive players for New Zealand, the link in the middle. They'll try and suck them as close together as possible, the Australians. And you watch Logan Tui possibly get this ball on the outer.
They go in the opposite direction to Cox, who just comes off his right foot. And there's been no contact made. And the flick back to halfway will sell the story. And Zane Cox gets one on the board.
And I'll tell you why there's just so many options off this. I mean, I'm talking about looking at Logan Tui here getting the ball. That's one option. One option is Bailey Deakin goes himself, runs the open side. The other one is he gives it to Zane Cox as he did, cracks back off his right foot and scores. There's just so many options that Australia can use off that defensive platform. So New Zealand may have to make a few changes before they face the Australians tomorrow.
Wilkie comes back to Taylor. Rollinson sweeps, changes his direction. And Bartz gets his hands on the football. Luckily that he did. Rollinson was punching through into space. Into the last 60 seconds of this game. A dominant performance from Australia in this mixed open Trans-Tasman match. Rollinson to Taylor. Steps back infield, feeds it to Wilkie. Wilkie's on the run, tries to get the ball out in front. Howard is comfortably defended in the end. Howard has ball in hand again. Let's try and get it in over the top. A little bit of confusion about this set as well. Taylor plants it down. Wilkie goes out to Rollinson. Beautiful read, Kate Hammond. Comes in from the right wing to close it out. And the Australians have got the job done, and they've got the job done in style.
Such a dominant display for Australia, and what a special win it is on Anzac Day here in Mudgee. The Kiwis, unfortunately, just couldn't match it with them. It was an outstanding game from the likes of Zane Cox, Logan Tui, Bradley Russell, Jacob Hall. That pod was very dominant in that first half. Probably took a little bit of the pressure off the Aussies as they were crossing a few times. And from New Zealand, Kutakanga, as per usual, had a great game. Some individual brilliance, along with Broadhurst. And what about the defensive efforts from Tiana Tiro on the wing, putting some great shots on the Australians? We love to see it. But we assume, Scott, that Australia and New Zealand will come up against each other tomorrow. As we take a look at some of the replays, you can see the Australians just